A lot of people seem to ask if Titanfall is still an active game, or sometimes they'll come across my videos and think that the Titanfall matchmaking system is like frequently putting me in games, and this just isn't the case. I play on custom Northstar servers that are set up by a community that is known as the PUG community, PUG standing for Pickup Game. I already made a video talking about the quote-unquote competitive scene of Titanfall, but all you really need to know is that it's not a real official competitive game mode, but this is as close as we get. And we have made so many changes to Titanfall that it's basically a new game when you compare it to the base version of this game. Starting off with our weapons changes, the alternator has been reworked into a semi-auto SMG. You cannot hold the trigger down on this gun, you have to tap fire it every time you want to shoot. It's a 3-shot kill to the body, but you cannot headshot with this weapon. The car got a slight nerf in its fall-off damage, and all it does is it makes it harder to kill somebody who's across the map compared to the vanilla car. The L-Star was buffed, and so now the projectile has no spread, and when you ADS, the scope does not go all the way to the bottom of your screen. The projectile speed and damage are still the same values as the original one, and it's a pretty noticeable change when you compare it to the vanilla L-Star. The carbine's in-air accuracy was also buffed, so it's now easier to hit your shots when ADS'd when you're mid-air. The R9 got buffed, so now it has 50 bullets instead of 48 with the extended mag. The Thunderbolt was nerfed, it has a slower projectile speed, it has less range and less AoE damage. The MGL was buffed, I forget how they buffed it, but it's stronger now. The unhacked charge rifle no longer one-shots pilots, and it also no longer gives them the knockback effect. However, it still does the same amount of damage to Titans. And the hacked version of the charge rifle still does weak damage to pilots, but it maintains the full knockback effect. Getting into the pilot changes, the health has been buffed, so now we play on 120 health instead of just the baseline 100. We actually used to play on 125 back in the day, but you know, now we go to 120. We also sometimes disable pilot collision for some reason. All pilot collision is it allows you to phase through people instead of being body blocked by them. The gunrunner attachment had its animation reworked because I don't know. It looks a little silly, but it's the same animation you get if you were running while holding a pistol. And melee got its damage removed, so you can no longer punch people to death. However, if you get lucky, you can still execute them. Phase shift was buffed and nerfed. You now instantly phase instead of having a small little windup. And a delay has been added to your health regen, so you no longer instantly start regenerating after coming out of phase. Grapple was nerfed, so you can no longer slingshot yourself further distances, and this might be buffed in the future. Pulse Blade got reworked into a phase TP, however this has since been banned unfortunately. AWOL only works with projectile weapons. If you try to shoot through it with a hit scan weapon, your bullets will do 0 damage. On to the Ordinance. Frag grenades have been reworked into proximity impulse grenades. You only get 1 charge that does low damage, however they have high displacement / knockback effects on enemies. These are more than likely going to be nerfed or banned in the near future. Grav Stars got nerfed, so they no longer last as long. Satchels got a nerf, they no longer one-shot pilots, however they still do full damage to Titans. Now for the Titans, Ion's laser shot range was nerfed, and the split bug was removed. Tone's sonar ping got nerfed, now it only highlights pilots through walls for 1 second, but it still marks enemy Titans for the full duration. Both Titan meter and core meter have been nerfed to 50%, and after losing your first Titan, the second Titan meter gets nerfed again to 30%, so it takes longer to get 2 Titans in 1 round. And a couple more things I forgot to mention earlier. Mantle is faster, ejection screen shake has been removed, and aim punch has also been removed. Flags automatically return to home base if they're dropped out of bounds. There is now a stalemate counter, so whenever both teams pick up each other's flags after 75 seconds, they both return to home base as well. Aim assist has been reduced to 0.34 from 0.4, which I think is like half the aim assist now. I don't know, the values are really iffy. And as we speak, there's currently a vote going on whether to nerf it even more, keep it as it is, or flat out ban it. But hey, at least they got a reduced aim assist mod working, that's something. We also got a few minor map changes. Colony's Tower is now out of bounds. Eden now has some more cover in the field side of the map. The out of bound timers on glitch have been shortened by a lot. This means it's no longer a fight for top beam control. The first person camera POV is now slightly shorter. This doesn't mean that the pilot model or hitbox got smaller, just your first person perspective. And if this wasn't already obvious enough, we play CTF on a set map rotation, that being Boomtown, Exoplanet, Eden, Drydock, and Colony. Glitch is still technically part of the map rotation, however we tend to skip it due to the bad spawns. And as of recently, we've been playing in a new server called M2 Crew. It's a more casual-oriented version of Pugs, and it was made for drag strafing since it got banned out in the original server. And last but not least, there is now a website created by Aoloach that tracks all the games that we play, including every stat, and it creates a player profile so you can see like your win-loss average, your KD, and all that stuff. It even includes an overhead view of a match replay so you can see where everyone plays on the map at different times. This website data is also used to balance the teams for when a pug starts, but it doesn't always make good teams since, you know, the whole leaderboard is very inaccurate and it's all still relatively pretty new. At the time of recording this video, those are all the current changes we have in place. There's probably going to be more in the future, but until then, that's basically all the differences and changes that we made to the game so far. When I say we, it's really just like 3 people who do all the work, and that's basically it.